had to be done. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today starts the celebration of the Euros, and we start with a review for The Damned United. The Damned United tells the story of Brian Clough, one of England's most successful and best characters in the game of football.
I won't eat and won't sleep until I've taken whatever that man's achieved and beaten it. Beaten it so I never have to hear the name Don fucking Revy again. Beat it. It's the only name anyone sings in the Yorkshire ale houses, raising the stinking jaws to the stinking mouths, is Brian Clough. Brian Clough, Uber fucking Alice.
Despite his many successes, the film actually focuses on his pretty awful time as manager of Leeds United. He had spent several years of his career slating Leeds United, calling them a dirty team, bad champions. And now he's coming in to take the reins of that team. And that is really where the focus lies here. Now, personally, I love Brian Clough. He's one of these characters that I wish was around in my lifetime. He's brash, confident, egotistical, mouthy, but a wordsmith and a leader. If you're with him, he'll make you feel like a king. But if you're against him, he will just argue with you until you come around to seeing it his way.
How do you react, though, when someone, from your playing staff comes in and says, "Boss, I think you're doing this wrongly"?
Good. Well, I ask him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it, and then we talk about it for 20 minutes, and then we decide I was right.
He is the very definition of the immovable object. As much as his ego was a valuable asset, it was also a huge flaw in his character. He talked himself into all kinds of trouble, all kinds of things that could have easily been avoided if he just shut up at times. But he just seems to not be able to help himself, and it's almost like he, Brian Clough himself, is aware of it. I really like that the film wasn't shy about showing you that. So many biopics are afraid to cast their main characters in a bad light or suggest that they did something wrong at any point in their life, and actually by showing the faults and these things that they did stupidly, you actually find them more relatable than these perfect beings, almost godlike, that can't be touched. I like as well that they bring in Peter Taylor, his assistant manager, and it actually kind of asks the question, is Peter Taylor the one that actually gets the football here and Brian Clough is just the poster boy? Or, is it a valuable team that they have? They're not afraid to put the microscope over the pair, and I say credit to them for it. Michael Sheen and Timothy Spall are excellent as Brian Clough and Peter Taylor. Timothy Spall does feel a little bit miscast if you know what the real Peter Taylor looked like, but ultimately it works because the dynamic between Sheen and Spall is just buzzing. It's there, you can feel the excitement between the two. They feel like real friends. They don't even really give you an origin to their friendship, they just plop you in the middle of their relationship. And you just get it. You just get the vibe that they have. I personally, as a football fan, relate so much to the dialogue that they share sometimes. It's refreshing to know that these kind of people in the game have similar conversations that I would have with my friends about fantasy teams and things like that. There have been many a time where I have asked a friend for advice on whether I should put a right back in my team, or if this guy's too injury prone, is the cost worth it? Yeah, I think many guys can probably relate to that. And as a football fan, I also enjoy hearing about classic retro football, if you will. The sort of games that were played when my dad was my age, for example. Hearing about players such as Colin Todd and John O'Hare. And, these names are fairly obscure nowadays, but giving them a quick Google, you realise how influential these people were at the time. And I like the fact that they used real footage through a lot of the montages where they need to skip through time and just show you what's happening in the world of football. And on that note, the montages I think are used pretty well, if not slightly relied on a little bit too much. I think it would have been good if we could have had some more live action football using the actors and the characters. Also, on a slightly down note towards the movie, I don't like the jumbled timeline of which the story is told. it just seems completely unnecessary. I feel like after watching the movie and you think back about essentially where everything falls into place, I can't understand why you would go for the jumbled approach. Everything in its place tells exactly the same story and just tells it in order. I kind of wish the film was a little bit longer. It's not a long film, it's about an hour and a half long altogether. And where it does choose to end, it is nice and touching and sort of life affirming and things like that. All the lovely things you'd want from an ending. But it doesn't go full circle. Not in my opinion, it doesn't. Instead, it uses the last bit in montage and just tells you that, yeah, he went on to be a great success after this terrible moment. And I can't help but feel like if the film was half an hour longer, we could have shown that success, and that could have been the final point of the movie. So yeah, realistically, my issue with the film lies within the directing or the editing. I suppose it's a blending of the two. But apart from that, I love the performances, I love the writing, I love the story in itself. I find that fascinating. And I find it so easy to go back to as well. And I also think that people who are not fans of football can also enjoy this movie or learn a thing about it. Maybe they'll be intrigued, but to learn more. So I'm going to give The Damned United a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching this review. If you could leave a like, comment and subscribe, I look forward to seeing you on the next video.